I'm super excited because we are talking with a founder that started off with a very personal story and that turned into a global medical device company. Her name is Haley Mullins, and she is the founder of Joey Band. And I will let her just talk to us a little bit about your founder story and anything that you would like for us to know before we get started.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to share this. So I'm the mother of two daughters. One just turned 14 and one's going to be 12 shortly. And when my first one was born, she was placed on my chest, skin to skin, immediately after birth. And I had no idea the science behind it, but I knew that it kept her quiet and happy. And for any new mom, that's a win. Those are the moments that we strive for. So 2 weeks to the day she was born, she was asleep on my chest. Beautiful moment. And I took my hands off of her for 2 seconds and she startled and hit the floor. So my husband and I took her to the emergency room thinking, I'm thinking, oh God, I'm unfit. They're going to take her away from me. And the emergency room doctor looked at us and said, this happens all the time. So not wanting it to happen again, because to this day, 14 years later, I can still remember that sound of my baby hitting the floor. I bought so many products. I tried wraps, carriers, slings, baby wearing shirts. And while they're all really great products for when you're up and you're mobile and you're walking around, there was nothing that I found that was designed specifically for skin to skin. So when you're at home and you're recovering after childbirth, your baby just wants to be on you all the time. You're their natural habitat. They just spent 9 months in your belly. They want to be with you. So designed the very first iteration of the Joy Band on my mother-in-law's sewing machine on my dining room table and sort of brought it to life. I was fortunate. I have a friend that's a patent agent who helped me. I went to her and I'm like, what, does this exist anywhere? And she helped me do a search and we did a worldwide search and all of our 26 claims came back as novel and inventive. So decided that we needed to give it a go. Couldn't be the only mother looking for something like this. Made some proper prototypes and found a manufacturer and put it out there to the world. And within weeks of putting it out there to the world, we had our very first email from a hospital saying that they'd been looking for something like this for their NICU babies. And I also had an email from La Leche League International saying that they had found our product and they'd be putting it in their next book. So we were recommended in La Leche League International's book called Sweet Sleep, Nighttime and Naptime Strategies for the Breastfeeding Family. Really, pivoted from thinking, retail and mom-to-mom sales into healthcare, realizing that there was certainly a need for something like the Joy Band.
So, Scott, go ahead and kick us off and tell us a little bit about your founder story and what you're currently doing.
We are a group of founders that came across an enormous market space in clinical care that really was compromising patient safety every single day. Healthcare-associated infection, HAI, they call it, affects so many people. 1 in 30 hospitalized patients receives an infection during care, and 100,000 patients in the US die every year. So this is a big deal. And we saw a major vector through a kind of a circuitous means. I was consulting. I was over in Taipei, saw a problem in the literature while I was doing some work, and came back and consulted with a couple of my good friends, a cardiologist and emergency physician at UCSD here in California, as well as in Baylor, respectively. These guys have worked with me on developing innovation in pharmaceuticals, device, and diagnostics in the past, biomarkers. They confirmed that the stethoscope is just like our hands, except we do all the diligence in healthcare around hand hygiene, and then we smear the same bugs on our patients with stethoscopes. This is something that has been a truth as long as stethoscopes have been around, and it is a culprit in these 100,000 patients lost every year and the enormous cost of care across the country. So we've gone about solving this problem through a process we have called market-driven science. And our fourth partner, Kelly Powers, is somebody that was at CareFusion at the time, and brought her in as our operations chief. We all founded the company together, and now we are actually solving some very significant problems in healthcare. I'm happy to.
You told me a little bit about your founder story, and what I think is interesting and unique about CleanBox is that it was born from a deeply personal experience. Can you take me back to that moment and tell me how that story became the foundation for CleanBox?
I usually get a little emotional saying it, but 6 years ago, my grandmother, she passed at a nursing home due to bed sores and inadequate bathing practices. And like most, I never been to a nursing home or assisted living facility until my grandmother went there. And I noticed how they bathe the patients, how they do bed baths. I guess that's horrible. So if you see it, you'll know how horrible it is, but just basically in a wet rag and bathing them on the bed. Little rotation, no movement, and it's very indignifying. That's the word. I have a degree in engineering technology. So I did a patent search because I was just wondering if the facility she was at didn't have nothing to help with that, or if that was just a normal problem amongst all facilities. And then when I did that, and I seen like nobody actually put any concern towards this, and it's the hardest part of the job, I was like, it's crazy. So went back in my shed. I made a small prototype with scrubbers, water jets, and on the conveyor belt, and it ended up working. It blew my mind. So I ended up doing another patent search and did triple check to make sure no one made anything like this, and nobody did. So I ended up going full throttle. I hired a couple manufacturers to help me build a live prototype, which I had a lot of issues with. But 3 years later, we have a showcase like it's